I'm standing right now in war zone, which is not very far from Gaza, and you can see behind me a lot of tanks that are lined up, which are going back to their locations, and they were deployed in at the front line for a very long time. For 3-4 days, we had been saying that these tanks were present. They were firing the target and locating or targeting the Hamas location in Gaza, and now some of them have been going back to their position. We have seen visuals of tanks lined up across the stretch, which is like about few dozens of tanks and other armored vehicles which are coming from the front line position. We have been seeing how incessantly they have been targeting the position along Gaza Stretch, targeting Hamas location and militant hideouts. How kind of military offensive, what kind of ground operation Israel is planning, that still remains to be seen. But we have seen that Hamas locations were targeted by aerial strikes earlier. Several thousand tons of ammunition have been dropped on Gaza. Several hundred civilians have also been killed. Israeli army claims that hundreds of Hamas terrorists, their headquarters, their senior commanders, they have been killed also in the attacks that Israeli Air Force have been doing. These tanks, which have been lined up along the Gaza Strip, about 2 to 3 kilometers from where we are, have been targeting all those positions, and now they are coming back. So this is the kind of military offensive or the ground operation that Israeli army is conducting right now. Maybe these tanks will be deployed to some other areas, or maybe some replenishment will happen, but the ground offensive of Israel army continues unabated even on the 7th day of the last terrorist attack that had entirely shook the entire country politically, socially and economically as well. Strategically, if we say, a lot of realignments are happening in this region. How will the situation unfold? What kind of new chemistries will evolve in the area? That will still be decided. But for now, the major offensive from the Israeli Defense Forces continues on Gaza Stretch with tanks, with armored vehicles and with aerial strikes continues for 7 days. Behind me, a tank from the Israeli army with the Israeli flag atop, and this was deployed on the front line position, and now it is coming back to their respective locations. Dozens of tank and armor vehicles are lined up right now, which are going back to their position, and these were deployed on the counteroffensive. The enthusiasm and the thrill of war is very much here, but for the cause of eliminating entire Hamas network that has been perpetrating a lot of terrorist attacks in the past also, and now the Israeli government has thought that once and for all they will eliminate the entire establishment, infrastructure, nexus, individual, everyone who is associated with Hamas or who has been supporting, aiding, abetting, or in any way trying to be associated with Hamas militia or the terrorist organization. So this has been the stand of the Israeli government, and with all the kind of reinforcement that is being sent on the borders along Gaza Stretch, that is the kind of offensive, that is the kind of preparation that the Israeli army has been preparing for a very long time now, and these will continue to go on. Sources also tell us that about 2 to 3 months could be the situation that could remain tense along the border, probably because the Israeli army does want to invade, does want to go ahead with their territorial fight against the Hamas terrorists who have been hiding along the Gaza in several quarters, several residential buildings, and they will have to be practically fought door to door, street to street, and that is the point where the civilian casualties can also go up. So Israeli government has been asking the people from the Gaza Stretch, from the northern Gaza, to move towards South Gaza, so that in the case of any counter-offensive or territorial fight, there could be a minimum civilian casualties or fatalities. That is the point. This is what the Israeli government has been encouraging them to leave the space also. Behind me, you could see line of tanks which are coming back from the deployment, from the position that they were earlier, and it's a long line of tanks which are coming back to the place from there where they were supposed to be.